Well, hey, good afternoon. My name's Matt Kelly. Thanks for your interest in Decisive Action. I'm here at the No Quarter Con in Plano, Texas, at the Dallas Games Marathon facility here. We've got a lot of people around trying to show off Decisive Action. So, flip over here to the setup that I've been working on this morning. I'm actually playing the Learning Mission 2 order battle. It is a battalion attack against a Russian security force, about a company-sized element. So we've got a light battalion. We've got two companies here, one mech, one armor. And I've task organized these guys. I'll show you here in a minute why. I'm going to bring two of the infantry platoons over to the tank company, and that's my primary effort. So I'll show you what's going on here. We're playing on the south half of the NTC map. A lot of glare from those lights, so let me see if I can find a better position. But anyways, it's about the last 20-something hexes on the south side here. I think it stops at the 13th parallel. So I've just drawn up there a boundary marker to simulate what's going on here. So this is the area of responsibility we've got. There's two phase lines here. This is phase line Ford, I think, and this is phase line Chevy. The Defenders, the Russian company, is set up in a defense here. I would call it a defense in depth. It's got two platoons. So I'll show you what I've got going here. In this position, I've got one platoon's infantry set up in a reverse slope, overlooking some wire to try and channel them in closer to him so he can get a good shot at him. And then his support vehicles here, BMP-2s, set up on a forward slope so that they get the AT-5 spandrels, the range out that far in that engagement area. The other platoon, they've got their infantry set up right here in that round cut. Again, they're overlooking an obstacle. In this case, we don't want them to come this way at all. The Russians really don't want it. So they've mined it as well, trying to completely deny that passage to them. Now, the way the map's here, in theory, when the Russians were looking at this, myself the first time, I had that other platoon's BMP set up top up here. They're going to take flank shots on anything coming in this engagement area. However, we kind of overlooked that, they are susceptible to some infantry movement through there. You can't get any vehicles around that north side because of the way the map is laid out, but he's going to have a problem here in a minute whenever I show you the American plan. We've got our mortars back here. We set our TOC way back here, and the UAVs centered right now for the beginning of the fight. So that's what they've done. They're defending in depth. They got their infantry platoons kind of reverse slope setup, so they're out of engagement range until the last second when they can actually kind of try and bloody the nose of whatever comes by there. And then the two BMP platoons are set up with long-range shots into this engagement area here. So trying to shape the enemy and get them to come in this direction here by denying that passage. So over here on the U.S. side, we've got my primary effort in the south here, and I got a secondary effort up here. Again, what I'm going to be doing is just try and, in theory, not in theory, but in reality, the way the game would play out, I wouldn't know if there's mines or wire there or here. I'm seeing it now because I'm playing both sides of the map, but I kind of assumed that they were going to shut that one down. This would be harder to shut down for them. So what I'm going to do up here is a supporting effort. The main purpose is just to dismount some of the infantry, get them across that hill, maybe get some their javelins to harass this platoon over here on foot from there, and then put a little pressure on this. And in reality, if I didn't know this was there, I would have to send something up here to kind of validate that they're there anyway. So my main effort is going to be coming down through the south here through Devon Pass. I'm going to set up a short assault with one of the infantry platoons. That's why they've got them here, to clear out this entrenched platoon here. and then set up an attack by fire position with the 2 tank platoons, and cover as the infantry advance onto this position, and then they would assault this other platoon here. So that's the battalion level asset fight. So one of the things that I like about this game is that there's a higher level component to it. You have to plan ahead. So what I'm looking at here is the game turn. Every one of these assets are assets that, in this case, the top row is what the U.S. has got set out here, and on the bottom row is what the Russians have set out. These are assets that we have coordinated with brigade and higher level echelon units to allow us these force multipliers. So I'm going to start off with counter battery fire as I'm advancing on the U.S. side, and then I'm going to have some, as a Russian player, I'm going to bring in some casts to try and reach out as far as I can into the defensive area before they really start to consolidate fires on my front positions there. And so these will turn over, and they are available at that time frame, and they can loiter, right? So the helicopters are available, I think, for, it says 2 turns or something like that. So right here. So I've got these are the actual assets that we're talking about. So these are the ones that were available to me at the beginning of the mission. Then I purchased some and were assigned some based upon mission type here. And then the ones that I actually, once I assign them to a place in time, then they're over here and they're actually committed. Okay, so that's one of the important things about this game is that I can commit them before the game commences, before the mission starts, for free, basically. If I had not committed one of these, say I didn't commit this one here, this reinforcing fires, it would have been over here and available for me. I would have had to later, once the mission starts, move it from committed, from on-call to committed by expending command points. Okay, command points are those things that represent the staff activity and planning process and writing out fragmentary orders and those type of things, getting on the radios to let people know about the change in the situation and coordinating those assets. So that's what command points are for. And so the more you can plan ahead of time, right, and space this out, the more efficient your staff are going to be, and the more effective for those assets are going to be. And then you can save those command points for other things, like having to shoot artillery and at non-pre-plotted targets, right? So that's one thing I didn't talk about over here in the battalion fight. You'll see I've got some pre-plotted targets here from the Americans. And so these are where I've got 3 of them for free, and as long as it's anything within 1 hex of that pre-plotted target, it doesn't cost me any command points to call in fires on those areas, as long as, assuming I have spotters as well. So if I do have to use indirect fires anywhere other than those spots, then I will have to use some of those command points. So that's why you kind of want to be judicious about them at first. Now, you will build them up over time as long as your tactical operations center is still on the map and not disrupted. You'll gain some command points every turn. So anyway, so now this is set up. I probably get started playing here pretty soon, but hopefully that was a good overview of kind of how you would use those. First off, the resources that you have available to you first, and then also those brigade assets to basically what we were talking about before is trying to put them at the decisive point. So right now, kind of the way I see the decisive point is right down here on this attack by fire. I've got to put as much fire on that as my infantry are assaulting across. So I'm going to need smoke here. I'm also going to need these 2 tanks to put a lot of fires down, hopefully to suppress those positions. And then also, this is my secondary effort. I want to be able to make sure that these guys are harassed enough so that they maybe turn or take some sort of action to try and, I guess you could say, eliminate the infantry that I'm going to have come over here. So, anyways, I'll try and post more later, but I hope this intrigues you. And if you've got any questions, please just put them in the chat down below. And thanks again for your time.